I loved watching the Olympics. I think that was also a really huge inspiration for me to get into track and field because that's one of the main things there. I mean, watching Alice and Felix run, it was amazing. And even in recent years, watching Sydney McLaughlin just break the world record at the age of 21, I mean, it was insane. It's amazing to just watch, and it's so inspiring.
Definitely have to be like Hailey Ostrom. She's a women's professional golfer. Really looked up to her as long as Thomson. Huge role models for me and kind of their aspect and the mark they made on golf itself.
I would say that I enjoy to watch the U.S. women's national team. I'm not like a very avid follower of many sports. I wouldn't say I watch them all that much. I more enjoy to play, but I've been to one of their games and that was a super cool experience. Just to like be able to watch the players that are like my position is helpful to like help me see what I can do to better myself as an athlete.
So being from Minnesota, my biggest inspirations for sports was probably the whole entire Gopher volleyball team. Other than that, probably April Ross, and then later on in my life and athletic career, Sis Bates she plays collegiate softball.
Some of my teammates from my club teams play at the U as well, so like I look up to them. Mainly Gopher softball though, especially Sam Mackin, Sarah Moulton, and Sarah Groenewegen, because those are like my top 3 Gophers.
When I was younger, I'd say that Jenny Finch was one of the people I look up to because she's one of the most well-known names in softball. You know, like you think of softball and you think of the top players, and you hear the name Jenny Finch, you're like, yeah, she's a stud. But I'd say someone I look up to more now is Simone Biles because she pulled herself out of the last Olympics because of her mental health, and mental health is an extremely important thing in sports that nobody ever talks about.
Bethany Hamilton, she is a professional surfer, and from a really young age, I don't even remember, like I guess middle school is when I really got into her, and I don't know, she inspires me just so much, and I would say she's like one of the top female athletes that stand out to me. Allison Felix is another one. I got the opportunity to watch her down in Iowa at a competition, and that was really awesome.
Like being a female athlete, you go through so much. Like I've had so many coaches tell me I'm terrible or like I can't play in college, and like I understand in like men's sports, like it happens too, but I feel like the female sports, it just like dives down. Like it just crushes everything, and like Fracker and the other coaches here have made the transition so easy, and even the upperclassmen have really helped my freshman class because there's over half of our team is freshmen. So us freshmen are really close, but the upperclassmen have also helped guide us to like getting ready for the season and like pushing us because there's more of us than them. It's hard for teams to become inclusive, and I think they've done a good job of like trying their best with like all the COVID stuff that they can to keep us together as a team and like mesh.
It's been great. Like it's been super fun to watch our program grow. Just even in these past 2 years and be like a part of that has been super awesome.
I love running, but it can also be a hard mental sport. I mean, sometimes girls have to think they have to look a certain way or they have to be just a certain way. And I think with like important thing with female athletes is like mental positivity, and just I think that I went through the really highs of like athletics and the really lows. I've seen both sides. Just putting in hard work and just staying positive is really important because I don't know, I mean it shows. If you're positive, you perform better, and that's how my experience has kind of been.
And then I ended up deciding to come here. It was an adjustment just from the whole high school to college thing at first, and then just the whole commitment deal too. Like it's a lot bigger of a commitment going from high school to college. So that was an adjustment at first, but I feel like I picked up pretty quick, kind of like the ins and outs of college and college sports. But I really loved being a D3 athlete, especially here at UWS, just because it's like a family, I guess, and especially with the volleyball team too. So
it's been great. It got me so much closer with the community around here. We have fantastic coaches that just really put in their heart and dedication to all of us, and they care about us. And it's where I found my second family.
Just being away from the field and like watching from the sides and getting a whole nother aspect of what the coaches see and what everyone else sees. Like, so it's just kind of cool to like learn about my teammates from a different perspective.
It definitely is sometimes hard practicing with the men's team, kind of like a competition almost between the two teams, but it still makes it like much so very fun, and I really do enjoy it.
I feel like it can go really far. I know in the past it's just been a huge like stereotypical thing for women in sports, but I feel like there has already been a lot of progress with that, and I think that girls and women can really just like break through the barrier of the stereotype and have a lot of fun with sports. I've always had a huge love for sports, and I've had a lot of fun with it. And even coaching younger girls in volleyball and softball, which I've done in the past, they have a huge love and passion for the sport as well. And I can totally see that progressing into the future.
And I just hope that it just keeps getting better and more well known, because like you think of the MLB and everyone knows of the MLB, but does everyone know of like all these pro softball teams? And I hope that someday everyone will know more about pro softball teams and could be able to be like, oh yeah, I know who that is.
I just hope it gets bigger. I hope the female athletes that are pro and even college or travel, like all levels, I just feel like they need to, or they should get the respect that they've earned and all the hard work they've put in.
I think I see a great future for that. Like just even within the past 10 years, I think there's been huge gains in every aspect of women's sports, which has been super cool to not only see but live through and participate in, I would say.
Hopefully, I see it really progressively growing within the next 10 years. I mean, it's kind of all I've seen commercialized now. I mean, I see who's that tennis? Serena Williams. I mean, she's on just about every commercial I see now. I see the women's USA soccer team everywhere. Now I even seen the track and field athletes and some of the WNBA basketball players. You know, you see them advertised everywhere, and it's just so great to see that our society now is helping to push for not women's rights, but for women's sports to become more than just oh, it's on TV, whatever. I really hope and I think that it's just going to be pushed to be a really great thing for all young women around the world.
I think it's getting a lot better. I mean, I see a lot more women's golfers being publicized, and a lot more on social media about women's golf, or even women's sports in general, is just being a lot more put on social media more than it used to be, especially broadcasting as well.
My hope for the future is that women's sports can be more seen as to the public eye, I guess I would say. I mean, that's my hope. How we're gonna get there is, I don't know, but hopefully by just doing things like this, we can make it happen. And also, I guess with track and cross country and that too, with women's sports, I think that those sports in general aren't presented that much. I mean, you don't turn on a TV and watch a cross country race or something like that. So I guess this is kind of for either women's or men's, but I think that I would love to see those presented more, because I mean, it is a sport and it is really hard, and people put in a lot of work, and I think that people can make a career out of it, which people do, and I would just love to have the world see it.